Welcome to Access, thanks to Crypto.com. Matthew, Lloyd and Damian Barrett with you. The top 4 is set, the top 8 is nearly set. There's one match remaining, Lordo, in this marathon that is the 2025 home and away season.
Damo, we have some mouth-watering matchups I can't wait to go through shortly in the first week of the finals, and also want to chat about Geelong, who seem to be the forgotten side, and there's a forgotten champion who's the key to their September charge, and also Collingwood. What can they achieve in this final series?
So this is how it looks after the completion of the Sunday matches in round 24. One game remaining. Gold Coast Suns versus Essendon on Wednesday. Are we giving them that win, Lotto, for the purpose of this conversation?
Yes, we are, Damo. So Adelaide will play Collingwood. Geelong will play Brisbane. The Gold Coast, they'll win. They'll beat the Bombers. They'll go up to 7th. So we'll have a final of GWS hosting Hawthorn in 5th v 8th, and also Fremantle hosting the Suns in 6th v 7.
And an expectation, again, this could change, and the AFL will release this officially upon completion of the Gold Coast game. But Adelaide, Collingwood could be on Thursday night, and Geelong and Brisbane could be on the Friday night. That's only fair, I think, Lotto, to give those losing qualifying finals teams the extra day, should they, or they do need it for the semi-final.
Yeah, they'll
matchup.
be brilliant. Brilliant finals.
Yep.
Can't wait.
It was high tension on Sunday, wasn't it, in the weekend just gone? And the Brisbane Lions had to work hard against Hawthorn. They got there, and I would argue, Lordo, of the 9 years that Chris Fagan has been coaching this team, upon completion of the home and away season, it's his finest moment, apart from the grand final itself.
Yeah, I'd agree. They've had a brutal draw. Like, when you win a flag, it's tough. You have a lesser pre-season, and then also you cop the harder teams. But they found a way. They made hard work of it. You look at that, Jack Given kicks a goal, but it's 9-21 to 10-13. Carl Amon, moment of panic there, and Bruce Reville just went back and slotted this goal, and they looked to be home once they kicked the next one as well. But yeah, they found a way. I thought Hawthorn were pretty good, to be honest. I think they're a big chance to go and beat GWS Giants in this first final. So I don't think Sam Mitchell will be too disappointed despite losing a top 4 spot. But Rayner found a way, McCluggage. They just had a bit too much class in the end for Hawthorn.
They did. There were so many absences last night. Lachie Neale is to come back into this team for the qualifying final. Just get your heads around it. A 2-time Brownlow medalist who they have been without now for the past 3 matches is going to come back in. Berry, a decision to be made around him. Coleman's not going to be there. Ainsworth's not going to be there. Hipwood could play a role in September. Payne's out. But they've had to do it through adversity, and McCluggage has stepped up in a massive way. Surely, upon completion of this game last night, he is All-Australian for the first time.
Yeah, the best man on the ground. He just makes you feel calm. He makes you feel comfortable. He's a point of difference. He's gone from the outside wingman type to someone who's brutally tough on the inside. Super
Kicks
clean.
goals.
Yeah, he was on his feet moments ago, but just does not stop working. He does not stop moving. So I thought he was sensational. Cam Rayner, I've been hard on over the years, but I trust him now, and he's such a big finals player, and I thought he wasn't far behind McCluggage in his impact last night.
Now, with a scoreline of 11-23, it's not the first time the Lions have butchered the ball around the goals, Lordo. It could be a problem. It wasn't last night, but they were 8 behinds at quarter time, and they were 1-9 at one stage. And these are misses from players of class.
Yeah, we could have shown a lot more than what we're just going to show, but we're 0-8 in the first quarter and 11 goals, 23 for the game. So, as you said, this isn't the first time this has happened for Brisbane. They've lost finals off the back of this before. It's just that they're such a good side and have so much talent and depth across the board. They got away with it last night, but they might not get away with it against the Crows or a Geelong if they kick like that.
So we know that the Hawks have been without Will Day, and it's a massive hole for them in their midfield. They were exposed there last night. Josh Weddle, a decision to be made about him and his bad back. If they get Weddle back, are they a chance to go deep?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, Damo. I thought that, as I said, they lost to Brisbane last night, but gee, they looked dangerous off half-back. Like when they chained it out, I thought Wilmot, Harris Andrews, these guys were Leicester. They were outstanding and they stopped a lot of the chains. I don't think the forward line functioned that well. Lewis had to be subbed out again with a corky. Deere didn't do a lot. Gunston had one of his worst games of the season. So I thought the back line and the midfield held up pretty well. They just couldn't score effectively.
Lotto, when you produce explosive footy, as the Dockers did in the second quarter yesterday against the Western Bulldogs, I think you can dream big if you are the Dockers. And I want you to now go to your screen, as we've dubbed this screen all year on Access for Crypto.com. Take us through what it was they did that most impressed impressed you?
Well, it was a 7-goal burst in the second quarter where, full credit to them, they're down at quarter time and the Dogs were hunting them, but it was the speed of ball movement. So we're going to get to their pressure and their burst. But I thought this man, Murphy Reid, was outstanding. I thought Frederick was dangerous. And then the three big boys, Damo, got a hold of them, who we're going to talk about soon.
Joy Amos kicking that goal there, 1 of 3 for the game. Tracy kicked 3.
Yeah.
Boss kicked 3. Reid stood up.
And they got some of the Dogs' defenders up high. Like you see Luke Cleary up high. He couldn't go with Murphy Reid on the way back there.
That is a brilliant goal.
It is a brilliant.
From a first-year player.
Yeah, like some of these.
Brilliant handball.
Lightning quick. So that's the Dockers at their best. You know, they've been criticised a lot for being dour and slow. There was none of that. Shea Bolton, he suits that type of game. So they've got so many weapons at their disposal. Look at the chasing. So they got them up nice and high, chained by hand, got the doggies out the back, and these backmen like Lob and those types, they got exposed really badly in this game.
Put the chest out here, Lotto, because they did this in the tall forward sense yesterday. Patrick, Voss, Jai, Amos and Tracy all kicked 3, and Luke Jackson chimed in with 2.
Yeah, as I said, Lob had his worst game of the season. I thought O'Donnell was okay. He held up quite well. He was pretty good. Luke Cleary was caught out a little bit on Murphy Reid. So there's no doubt they've got issues in that area of the Western Bulldogs. But with that supply coming in and how fast the ball movement was in, the Doggies were exposed. So the biggest weakness was spoken about all year. When you come to play the best sides, your weaknesses are exposed, and the Doggies' biggest weakness was exposed on the biggest day of all for them, where they were not good enough in those defensive posts.
We'll get to the Dogs in a moment, Lordo, and upon reflection of their season, it was a failure. There is no sugarcoating that for them. But when you looked at this game yesterday, you got to quarter time, it was 15 points the deficit. They exploded from there on in, and they put some pressure on the Dogs in a way that would stack up in finals.
Yeah, I thought the Dogs' pressure was huge in the first quarter, and the Dockers couldn't get the ball outside, past halfway for the first 6 or 7 minutes, but they weathered the storm. I thought that man, Alex Pearce, we'll talk about him a bit today too, because Sam Darcy, he got a hold of Sam Darcy, so they held up well. But then from quarter time, it was pressure like this which overwhelmed the Western Bulldogs. So off the back of that pressure, they got their hands game going, the speed of ball movement going, and the Doggies just couldn't cope with it in that 7-goal burst.
Yep, the defenders were exposed, weren't they? And as we now, I suppose, analyse where they are with the backline, Lordo, please talk to the midfield as well, because to finish the season outside the 8, they don't want for much. It's a regular theme with the Bulldogs. To me, there can be no sugarcoating the fact that they are not playing in September.
No, so I wonder, like I look at Hawthorn who go, we need 2. So they went Battle and Barris and they got 2 in, and they've been rock solid behind the ball. So I would love to know who the Dogs have in mind. I hope they do have someone, or are they saying Croft or a Norton or one of those types are going to be our key defender?
James O'Donnell, he's still a work in progress, isn't he? I mean, he's okay, but he's only okay at the moment. Is that fair?
Yeah, I want to know who their number 1 is. So O'Donnell's a number 2 or 3, but they need the Colossus, like the Wiedering type, or that everyone else has that gun, like in defence, which the Bulldogs don't have.
And the Western Bulldogs re-signed Luke Beveridge for 2 more years later. I think it was the right decision for what it's worth. But he now concedes a lots of strings of goals in key moments. It happened yesterday. There were 8 in a row, 7 in the second quarter. It happened 16 of the last 17 in the 2021 grand final. It happened in the 2022 elimination final against the Dogs. They were 7 goals up in that game. It happened last year in the final against Hawthorn. Something has to be fixed there as well.
Yeah, defensively, he needs to be critiqued. Luke Beveridge, that they don't defend the ground well enough. And then also, as I said, they need to recruit well. I'm not interested in hearing that they want Zach Butters, because I think start with the big key defender first before you worry about another midfielder.
Yep. Lotto, we've seen this many times, dozens of times I'd argue, from Toby Green for the Giants in a key moment for his team. It happened again yesterday against the Saints. He stepped up with 4 goals, but it was what he did in the last quarter that I think was most telling. We can just see what he did do by way of setting it up. But there's a massive hanger he takes late in the game, and an even bigger season helping, assisting mark that he took in the middle of the ground when the clock was dying down. He's an elite talent, obviously has been for a long time, but again, with those injuries they've got, they needed him to do this as he did it late in the piece.
Yeah, so he takes this big mark, misses a shot, but then Seconds later, he does this. He goes back with the flight of the ball and takes one of the great marks of the season. So you want to be remembered at the end of your career for standing up in big games, and that's what Toby Green does.
Got injuries, so you factor that in. Buckley's gone down again. Canilio yesterday with the HIA during the actual game. Hogan and Stringer, the doubts over him. But they were exposed for periods of this game by a team, the St Kilda Footy Club, that is not making finals.
Yeah, it could have gone either way. The game, the lead changed over 8 to 10 times. That's how even this game was. St Kilda, the Giants started really well, then the Saints hit back. But it was Darcy Wilson who kicked 5 goals in this game, 23 disposals, 5 goals. So they were opened up. Adam Kingsley, you could see he was concerned for large parts of this game. Good sides always find a way. The top 9 always seem to find a way to beat the bottom 9. But they wouldn't beat Hawthorn playing the way they played yesterday, in my opinion. So they do need to improve.
Yep. The Gold Coast Suns, Lotto, for so long this season have done a lot right, but in the past fortnight they've really made things difficult for themselves. So they lose to the Giants 2 weeks ago, and then on the weekend couldn't even get over Port Adelaide. Now there was an emotion attached to the Powers performance, I get that. Ken Hinkley retiring after 13 seasons, Travis Boak after nearly 400 matches, but they've left themselves in a vulnerable position right now, haven't they?
They have. They have to now probably go to Perth against the red-hot Fremantle Dockers when they should be playing a top 4 game. Unfortunately for them, they're not going to be there. But Damian Hardwick said, I've got 80% of my list here. But I look at this list and say, you ask too much of your best players. So Rowell, Anderson, Miller and Witts, they do it every week. And you've got Ben King who kicks a lot of goals. But this is the bottom-end players over the weekend who just, look, Jeffrey subbed out with 9 touches, Goulburn, young kid 9, Oscar Adams 9, Sexton 8, Buderick 8, Flanders 8, and then King and Farah kick goals but don't have many touches with that. So I just think that, again, if you can nullify Rowell, everyone's going after Rowell hard now, well then they fall off pretty quickly, which is my concern going into this final.
And the mindset of potentially going into this last game of the season on Wednesday against Essendon, knowing that if they were to win that, they would be a top 4 team, to now being faced with just needing to win it to get into the 8. How does that affect them psychologically?
Well, the only benefit is that they've never played a final before, so they can build up that we're going to create history, get there, and it'll be better for the experience for the year after. But they're certainly not a premiership threat the way they're going.
A team that has played a lot of finals, Lordo, is one that you critique regularly, the Collingwood Football Club. Now, they go into September this year on the back of winning or losing 5 of their final 7 matches. They had to really work hard late against Melbourne. They were 2.5 goals down late in the last quarter. What did you notice in this? And do you think they need to do more of this?
Yeah, Josh Dacos against the Gold Coast a month ago was break glass. And again, they go to Josh Dacos in the centre of the ground in the last quarter. And that allowed for Scott Pendlebury to go behind the ball and be like the wicket keeper, quarterback across the back line. And while Josh Dacos didn't have a huge last quarter, Pendlebury had a massive last quarter behind the ball and being able to control things. So I just feel like sometimes they can be one pace through the midfield. So why not throw Pendlebury back earlier, bring Josh Dacos into it? And if you could load up with Josh Dacos, Nick Dacos and Jordan De Goey, suddenly it's a bit of a different looking midfield. I thought they were slow, kicked down the line too much, Bortmack's gone into it. And it wasn't until the game was lost and done that the risk started to be taken and the small forwards and mediums got into it because the ball movement was far quicker than it was. So they need to probably change a few things up heading into this first final to try and beat the Crows.
We just saw Dan McStay on the end of one of those passages of play, a crucial mark and subsequent goal that helped them win the game of footy. Do they need to take him back, Lordo, with now that Jeremy Howe is not going to be playing for at least the qualifying final?
Yeah, it's certainly a consideration. They won't want to do it because he's played forward the whole season, but Charlie Dean would be a massive risk to take because he did get exposed the last AFL game he played.
Yep. Lordo, for a team that's now in 11 of the past 15 seasons finished top 4, how was it the fact that the Cats are somehow forgotten in this finals race? In a certain context, there's a subject today of your bold call.
It is. The crypto bold call for me is Tom Stewart. You must stop him. So when the Brisbane Lions come to the MCG to take on Tom Stewart, there is obviously Holmes, there's Bailey Smith, there's Jeremy Cameron, but this guy, to me, is sort of the key to Geelong. He keeps them together, holds them together. He's done it for years, and McEntee is someone in Port Adelaide, Ken Hinkley, who have gone hard on him, and they make a point of if someone's going to release themselves, it's not going to be Tom Stewart, so they'll force it to be someone else, and they do it really smartly, Port, where if it's not McEntee, even another player will leave their matchup to go to Tom Stewart.
So specifically for this matchup against Brisbane Lions, is it a Calamarchi?
Calamarchi's the one. I don't think Lohman, Rayner, those types of players, Bailey are the types to do it. But Archie has the discipline to go after a guy like Tom Stewart. And it'd be massive for the team if Chris Fagan walks in and sells to his team, we're going after Tom Stewart and you're the man, Calamarchi, which is what I would do.
And Chi played a slightly different role against Hawthorn on Sunday night to what he had played most of the past 2 seasons. Now, this was only a game against the Richmond Football Club, Lordo, but the Cats' ball movement was again supreme, and there were different layers to it. Max Holmes off half-back at times.
Yeah, so you've got Smith and Holmes, who we all know, but Myers, Close, Stengel, those small half-forwards are as good as any small half-forwards in the competition, and the hands and the speed of hands, they have just slowly gone along, and including me, we haven't talked about them enough because of the soft draw they've had compared to the Brisbane Lions. But I loved the way they beat up the Sydney Swans at the SCG last week, and they go into this final series as well as anyone. And they're my premiership favourite right now, Damo, as we go into September with how well they're travelling.
And most importantly, and in contrast to a couple of clubs we've already spoken about today, they have a effectively non-existent injury list.
Yeah.
They've got every big name available.
Yeah, that's right. They know they're going back to front, and with that, I think it's why they go into September really confident. While
you're on ball movement and explosive ball movement, the Crows have had that all year season as well. When they've needed to, they had a game against North Melbourne, just did what they had to do, but they got out of jail in a sense.
Yeah, watch this kick though. So it's Mitch Hinge across his body, bang, and that's what they can do. They just flick the switch against North Melbourne when they need to. Again, they let North back in the game late in the piece, but that's going to be the challenge for Collingwood, like it was in the last time they played each other, where Adelaide probably have a few more offensive weapons than Collingwood in this first final.
I've learned a lot already this morning listening to you, Lordo. Let's take a look at what else we're going to take a leaf out of round 24. I'll go first. The never-ending nightmare that is the West Coast Eagles. 1 win only, 22 losses. It's the most ever by any season. And now we've got news confirmation that Oscar Allen, co-captain, is officially leaving to the Brisbane Lions. Josh Carr will finally get to control the Port Adelaide Footy Club, and I reckon we'll see some movement in the trade period, in or out, that shows that he is now the boss. And I do feel strongly that the new coach of Melbourne, the expectation he will be named in grand final week. It'll be enough time frame then for that person to make a call one way or another on Clayton Oliver. There is a decision still to be made about him.
Yeah, on the Saints, a lot of teams put the queue in the rack late in the year, but I thought their last 6 weeks was brilliant and a lot of good young kids. So a bit to like heading into next year. Sydney Swans, if you want the big key forward, deal or no deal. So who are you going to put up? Would it be a Tom Papley or a Blakey or someone? If you want someone of Curno's ilk, you've got to put someone up for that. And North Melbourne changed the mindset. So next year, close enough is not good enough. You must win the big games to try and win 7 or 8, 9 next season. And the Bombers, can they be party poopers?
Can they?
On the Gold Coast, no, they won't be. They've lost 12 in a row. It'll be a 13th loss on Wednesday night.
OK, let's take a look at the near completion of the tipping for Crypto.com.
I
came hard late, Lordo, but I left it way too late, and you still got me with one match to go. And I'm assuming we've both got the Gold Coast against Essendon, so you're going to beat me. But Michael Whiting, he's been brilliant all season, and he's withstood that challenge throughout.
Two good fish, well done.
Thank you for watching Access for Crypto.com. We'll be back after the first week of finals.